There's a certain kind of trust that doesn't get questioned. The kind that just is. Like gravity. Like the fact that your best friend, the one who's been there since finger painting and snack time, would never cross you. That was John for me. We met before we could spell our own names right. Sandbox buddies, partners in every dumb scheme we could dream up. And yeah, we grew up, but we never grew apart. High school. Sat next to each other. College? Roommates. Weddings? He was my best man, I was his. When my kid was born, guess who held him first after me? That's right, John. You get the idea? So when people talked about ride or die friends, I didn't need to think twice. John was it. Solid. Dependable. Like an old truck that never breaks down. But let me tell you something, sometimes, the rust's just hidden under a fresh coat of paint. It was a regular Tuesday. One of those days where nothing really stands out. I just finished work, was about to crash on the couch, when I realized, damn, I left those documents at John's place. We'd been working on something together, some side project I'd dragged him into, because that's what we did. Helped each other out. I didn't text. Didn't call. Why would I? I'd been in and out of his place more times than I could count. His fridge had my favorite beer. I had a spare key to his garage. So I drove over, thinking about nothing but grabbing the folder and maybe raiding his pantry for chips. Simple. I pulled up, his truck was in the driveway. Lights on. Music playing. I figured he was home, maybe watching a game. The front door was cracked open, not wide, just a bit, like he stepped out for a smoke. I pushed it gently, called out, "Yo, John?" No answer. I stepped inside. Now, you ever have that moment where your brain knows something's wrong before you do? Like the air's just off? That was me, standing in his hallway, listening to the faint sound of voices. Not the TV. Real voices. I didn't want to eavesdrop. I'm not that guy. But then I heard my name. And hers. Rachel. My wife. I froze. Not the kind of freeze where you're scared. The kind where your mind's racing so fast it just stops. Like a hard reset. I stepped closer, down the hall, each footstep slow, silent. The voices got clearer. A laugh. Hers. Rachel. And John, right there with her. That same low chuckle I knew better than my own. I pressed my back against the wall, right by the living room doorway. I wasn't thinking straight, just moving on instinct. My hands were clenched, but I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was just trying to hear. Rachel. He has no idea, you know. Still thinks we're working on things. John. He's too loyal for his own good. Always was. Then silence. Then them. I didn't need to see it. I knew. But I looked anyway. You ever see something that makes you feel like your whole body went numb? There they were. On the couch. Close. Too close. Her hand on his knee, his arm around her like it belonged there. Like I didn't exist. John. The guy who helped me move furniture into our first apartment. The guy who gave the toast at my wedding. To Ben and Rachel, the real deal. What a joke. I backed away, out the door, quiet like a ghost. I didn't slam anything, didn't yell. I just left. Got in my car, sat there gripping the wheel, staring at the dashboard like it could tell me what the hell to do next. Part of me wanted to go back in and knock his teeth out. Part of me wanted to call her, scream, ask how long, why, all of it. But another part, the part that had been sleeping way too long, told me to wait. Wait, watch, gather. Because once you see people for who they really are, there's no going back. And if I was going to burn this to the ground, I wasn't going to do it blind. That night I didn't go home. I didn't even tell her I'd gone over there. I just sat with it. Let it sink in. Let it change me. Because that's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't just hurt. It rewires you. You ever stay up all night just thinking? Not overthinking, not spiraling, just sitting in the dark, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything with new eyes. That's where I was. Because once you know the truth, the past doesn't look the same anymore. Memories get distorted. Little moments you ignored suddenly shine like neon signs. Like the time Rachel said she was going to help John pick out furniture for his new place. I didn't think twice. Why would I? He was family. Or the time she got all dressed up to grab drinks with the girls and came back smelling like his cologne. I noticed. I just didn't want to. I started seeing it all. Not just her. Him. The way John always knew too much. Gave me advice about my own marriage like he'd been there. Because he had. I didn't rush it. Rage makes you sloppy. Revenge? That takes precision. And I wasn't about to be the guy who screamed into the void and walked away with nothing but pride. No, I wanted them to be the ones looking over their shoulders. First step? Control. Rachel thought everything was normal. She didn't notice the way I started tracking our bank accounts a little closer. She didn't catch the password changes, the small moves. She still kissed me goodbye like nothing had changed. And John? He was just as blind. We even grabbed a beer that week. Sat on his porch, talking about the game, laughing like old times. He didn't flinch once. Didn't crack. Things good with you and Rachel? He asked, casual. Yeah, man, I said, smiling. We're solid. Solid like dynamite. Just waiting on a fuse. By the end of the week, I had everything lined up. 1. Copies of the texts, emails, photos, all backed up. 2. A meeting with a divorce lawyer, one of those no BS types. 3. A quiet chat with our mutual friends, just planting seeds, nothing too obvious. I wasn't just going after them. I was going after the illusion. They'd built this whole fantasy on the idea that I was too dumb, too loyal to ever notice. Breaking that illusion? That was going to hurt more than any punch ever could. Friday night, Rachel had plans. Girls' night, she said, tossing on that same dress she wore the first time I took her out. Funny how things come full circle. Have fun, I told her, watching her walk out the door, not knowing it was the last time she'd do it as my wife. I waited an hour. Then I drove over to John's. His lights were on. His truck was there. I didn't knock this time. Just walked right in. He was in the kitchen, beer in hand, surprised but smiling. Yo, man, wasn't expecting you. Yeah, figured I'd swing by. Wanted to talk. He leaned on the counter. What's up? I took out my phone, pulled up one of the screenshots, and slid it across the counter. He looked down. Paused. Color drained from his face. You should lock your phone, John, I said. Rookie move. He stared at the screen like it was going to change. Like maybe if he blinked hard enough, it'd all go away. Ben, listen. Nah. I cut him off. You listen. I stepped closer, calm. You think you know someone, right? All these years, all that trust, and you just throw it away. For what? Some stolen nights and cheap thrills? He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Save it, I said. You had your fun. Now it's my turn. I didn't yell. Didn't swing. Just walked out. Left him standing there, broken. And Rachel? She'd get hers soon enough. Saturday morning, I cooked breakfast like nothing was wrong. Pancakes, coffee, her favorite. I figured if we were going to end this, might as well give her one last taste of what she was throwing away. She came downstairs, all smiles, hair a mess, wearing one of my old t-shirts like she hadn't just been out with someone else the night before. "You're in a good mood," she said, sitting down. "Just feeling grateful," I replied, flipping a pancake. "Sometimes you gotta appreciate what you have, you know?" She nodded, sipping her coffee. "I like this version of you." I smiled. "Me too." After breakfast, I told her I had something to show her. She followed me into the living room, still oblivious. I picked up the folder off the table, clean, simple, no drama in sight, and handed it to her. "What's this?" she asked. "Proof," I said, sitting down. She looked confused, then opened it. First the texts. Then the photos. Then the call log, her number, John's number, time-stamped to the nights she told me she was with the girls. Silence. "Rachel," I said, voice steady. "How long?" She didn't answer. Just stared at the papers like they were written in a language she couldn't read. I said, "How long?" Her eyes welled up, and for the first time, I didn't feel a damn thing. "6 months," she whispered. 6 months. Half a year. 30 weeks of being lied to by the person I trusted most. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she started. "You didn't mean to cheat on me?" I laughed. "You tripped and fell into his bed, huh?" "It's not like that," she said, tears rolling now. "I was lonely, Ben. You were always working, always distracted." I stood up, shaking my head. "I was building a life for us. I trusted you." Her voice cracked. "I still love you." "No," I said. "You love not being alone. There's a difference." She begged. Apologized. Said all the things people say when they're caught. "But you can't unring a bell." I told her I'd already filed. Told her the lawyer would be in touch. And then I left. Left her in the house we made together, surrounded by reminders of what she'd destroyed. But I wasn't done yet. Next stop? Our friends. The ones who always looked at us like we were that couple. Time to set the record straight. By morning I wasn't tired. I was done. Done being blind. Done being played. I didn't want a confrontation. Not yet. I wanted clarity. So I started small. Rachel was still asleep when I got home. I sat on the porch, pretending like the world hadn't flipped upside down, until she came out in her robe, yawning. "Where were you last night?" she asked, rubbing her eyes. "Crashing at Mike's," I lied. "We stayed up working on that project." She didn't question it. Just nodded, kissed me on the forehead, and went to make coffee. I watched her walk away, thinking, how long has she been this good at lying? Later that day, I called John. "Hey, man. Mind if I swing by later? Need to grab that folder." Pause. "Oh, yeah? Sure. I'll be home after 6. Casual. Like nothing happened. Like he didn't just blow up 30 years of friendship for a piece of something he should have stayed far away from. But I didn't go over there at 6. I waited. Instead, I dug. Checked Rachel's old phone backups. See, she wasn't exactly tech-savvy. She thought deleting messages meant they were gone. But iCloud, man, that thing's a snitch if you know where to look. And there it was. Texts. Photos. All of it. Some recent. Some from months back. Saturday morning, I cooked breakfast like nothing was wrong. Pancakes, coffee, her favorite. I figured if we were going to end this, might as well give her one last taste of what she was throwing away. She came downstairs, all smiles, hair a mess, wearing one of my old t-shirts like she hadn't just been out with someone else the night before. "You're in a good mood," she said, sitting down. "Just feeling grateful," I replied, flipping a pancake. "Sometimes you gotta appreciate what you have, you know?" She nodded, sipping her coffee. I like this version of you. I smiled. Me too. After breakfast, I told her I had something to show her. She followed me into the living room, still oblivious. I picked up the folder off the table, clean, simple, no drama in sight, and handed it to her. What's this? She asked. Proof, I said, sitting down. She looked confused, then opened it. First the texts. Then the photos. Then the call log, her number, John's number, time-stamped to the nights she told me she was with the girls. Silence. Rachel, I said, voice steady. How long? She didn't answer. Just stared at the papers like they were written in a language she couldn't read. I said, how long? Her eyes welled up, and for the first time, I didn't feel a damn thing. 6 months, she whispered. 6 months. Half a year. 30 weeks of being lied to by the person I trusted most. I didn't mean for it to happen, she started. You didn't mean to cheat on me? I laughed. You tripped and fell into his bed, huh? It's not like that, she said, tears rolling now. I was lonely, Ben. You were always working, always distracted. I stood up, shaking my head. I was building a life for us. I trusted you. Her voice cracked. I still love you. No, I said. You love not being alone. There's a difference. She begged. Apologized. Said all the things people say when they're caught. But you can't unring a bell. I told her I'd already filed. Told her the lawyer would be in touch. And then I left. Left her in the house we made together, surrounded by reminders of what she'd destroyed. But I wasn't done yet. Next stop? Our friends. The ones who always looked at us like we were. That couple. Time to set the record straight. You know what's funny? People love to pretend like they don't take sides. Like they're neutral. But the moment the truth hits the fan, they always pick. That Saturday afternoon, I sent out a simple message to our closest circle. Hey, just wanted to let you all know Rachel and I are splitting. It's not a we grew apart thing, she's been sleeping with John. Yeah, that John. I've got no interest in drama, just facts. If you need me, I'll be around. If not, take care. I didn't need a pity party. I needed clarity. The responses? They came in fast. Some were shocked. Some weren't. Mike. Damn, man. I always felt something was off between them. I'm here if you need anything. Laura, John's ex. I had my suspicions about those too. Thanks for confirming. If you ever want to talk, I'm around. Jess. Ben. I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve this. Rachel called 3 times that day. Left voicemails, texts. Said I was ruining her life, that this was private, that I didn't have to make it public. But see, she made it public the second she brought him into our world. The second she turned my best friend into her backup plan. I wasn't out for revenge. I just wanted the truth to live where it belonged, in the open. And John? Yeah, he tried. Sent me a long text about regret. How it just happened. How he didn't mean to hurt me. I didn't even reply. I just blocked his number and deleted him like he deleted our friendship. A week later, Rachel moved out. Took her stuff, left the keys on the counter like this was some rental she'd worn out. The house was quiet after that. But not in a bad way. More like peaceful. Like it could finally breathe again. I started getting back to things I'd put on hold. Work, friends, even hobbies I forgot I loved. Fixing things with my hands. Running in the mornings. Living. It wasn't about starting over. It was about starting right. But life's got one more twist for every story, right? Because just when I thought it was all behind me, I got a message from someone unexpected. John's ex-wife. The message was simple. We should talk. From Sarah, John's ex-wife. We weren't close, just knew each other from birthdays, barbecues, the usual couple stuff. But now we had something in common neither of us wanted, but both understood too well. We met at a little coffee shop, away from town. Somewhere quiet. She was already sitting there when I walked in, 2 coffees on the table, no small talk. Ben, she said, eyes steady. I'm sorry. I nodded, sitting down. You knew? She shook her head. Not at first. But I felt it. Something was wrong for a while. I just didn't want to believe it. We sat in silence for a moment. There's a weird comfort in sharing pain with someone who gets it. No judgment. Just truth. She slid a folder across the table. I found these. Thought you should see them. Inside were more texts, more photos. Some older, some new. Turns out, Rachel wasn't John's first mistake. She was just the last. Why give me this? I asked. Because you're not crazy. And because I want this chapter closed, same as you. I nodded, flipping through the pages, not out of curiosity, but to remind myself that trusting the wrong people doesn't make you weak, it just makes you human. After that, we didn't stay long. We weren't looking for friendship, just closure. And that's what I finally got. Back home, the house felt different. Not empty, free. I boxed up the last of Rachel's things and dropped them off without a word. She opened the door, eyes tired, face pale. You okay? She asked, voice soft. Yeah, I said. Better than I've been in a long time. She looked like she wanted to say something, maybe beg again, maybe just explain. But I didn't care anymore. Take care of yourself, Rachel, I said, walking away. Weeks passed. Then months. And you know what? Life didn't just go on, it got better. Not because of what happened. Because of what I learned. Some people are meant to walk beside you for a season, not forever. And sometimes, the longest friendships hide the deepest cuts. But I'm still standing. Smarter. Stronger. And free.